A clock will cause Bitcoin to moonshot. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about how the Bitcoin halving is going to cause a major rally on Bitcoin. But before that major rally, there's a very large possibility of a giant crash on Bitcoin. Today, I'm going to show you how the halving event is going to impact the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market, how we can best take advantage of that movement, and what investing in Bitcoin right now will do for you if you take advantage of the opportunities that we're going to talk about in today's episode of Climate of Crypto. By the end of this video, you're going to know when and how to invest in Bitcoin, and you're going to know what that will do for you. So without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Today's episode is brought to you by NordVPN, and the reason that you should go to nordvpn.com/Jeb is because when you go to that website and sign up for a 2-year plan, you will be getting high-quality security and virtual private network architecture that will keep you safe while you browse online. My friend, if you have any amount of money online, in an online bank, in a bank account that you can log into, in a cryptocurrency portfolio, if you have passwords and photos online, whatever it is that you are trying to protect in the digital realm, one of the best things you can do to protect that is to use a VPN anytime you browse online. And the reason is because the VPN will reroute your internet activity through their servers and through their pathways so that you are not visible to the rest of the internet, essentially giving you a cloaking device while you browse the internet. Now, that's not to say you can't get hacked. If you're done with your passwords, then yeah, somebody could get your stuff. But one of the best things that you can do to defend yourself against hackers and governments and banks and advertisers that are overreaching is to make sure that you are invisible in the first place. So make sure to go to nordvpn.com/Jeb and sign up for a 2-year plan today for the low price of under $200 and protect yourself for the entire duration of the bull market. Now, let's set the stage. I always was a bit theatrical. From the time of recording this video, the estimated halving date for Bitcoin is sometime in the 3rd week of April, seemingly just a little over 2 weeks away. Now, about a year ago, we made a video titled How a Clock Will Send Bitcoin to $50,000. At the time, Bitcoin was trading at $24,000. The halving was one of the major events that led us to where we are right now, approaching 70. I now believe that the halving is going to be one of the major events that will send Bitcoin to over $100,000. But to understand how that's going to happen and how we should invest in the market to take advantage of that movement, we've got to jump on to the Bitcoin chart. You see, Bitcoin has been in an absolutely monumental and parabolic run-up over the last year and a half, and this is even on the logarithmic chart. Bitcoin has been experiencing exponential growth, but of course that means that Bitcoin needs to consolidate. If you zoom out, you'll see that Bitcoin has rallied exceptionally quickly, especially if we look at this on a regular linear scale. In fact, Bitcoin nearly doubled in valuation in the span of 50 short days. Over $650 billion of market capitalization entered Bitcoin in less than 2 months. That was just Bitcoin. The entire space grew by $1 trillion. So of course, the month of March and seemingly the rest of the month of April will be a consolidative month, which is one of the best things that could happen for Bitcoin. On Monday, March the 11th, on our morning live stream, Coffee and Crypto, I predicted that we would be seeing a 15 to 25% corrective movement on Bitcoin within the next month. 3 days later, that corrective movement that we predicted began, and Bitcoin would drop 18% in 7 days. If the fullness of that corrective movement were to transpire, a 25% drop would bring us down to about $53,000. And that movement actually makes a whole lot of sense because it sits right here just above the uptrending level of support that we see here on the logarithmic daily chart for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin were to break bearish here, we would fall all the way down to this uptrending level of support, which has been in play for the last year and a half. As you can see, we have a set point right down here in January of 2023. We have our pivot point right here. As you can see, we have a pivot point here in January of 2023 and a set point here in March of 23. We also have more touches here, here, and here. And the reason this uptrend is important is because it looks like Bitcoin is going to be trading sideways all the way until the halving date, which is slated to be sometime in the 3rd week of April. Bitcoin desperately needed to trade sideways and consolidate after that massive run, and if we were to see a furtherance of the corrective movement, we would probably drop right down towards this uptrending level of support, as you can see right here. That would be, in total, about a 23% corrective movement, which would be extremely healthy for Bitcoin, and would be a great time to be buying Bitcoin. If Bitcoin does drop down into the mid $55,000 region, then that is where you can say, I'm going to put a lump sum in. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try and get one coin. I am going to get to 0.1 Bitcoin. I'm going to get to 10 Bitcoin, wherever you are. I want you to be able to make a lump sum purchase on Bitcoin if you want to here in a couple of weeks when this drop may happen. If it doesn't happen, then fine. Just continue your dollar cost averaging and potentially go into a long. But if this correction does happen, I want to make sure that you've got some cash on the side. I generally recommend about 5 to 10% of the portfolio at most in cash but much more than 2 or 3%, somewhere in that range, then you can deploy some of that capital into Bitcoin and get that lower average entry. But here's the thing. The halving on Bitcoin is not going to lead Bitcoin down for very long, if at all. This corrective movement may not even happen. Bitcoin trading sideways for a month and a half in total might be enough, and Bitcoin just moonshot from here. In the long run, though, the halving event has always, every single time it's ever happened, has led to a major rally on Bitcoin within just a few months. And that is what I'm expecting is going to happen again here. As a result of the halving event, you are going to see a couple of things take place. Number one, you're going to see the block reward cut in half. Number two, you're going to see the transaction fees go up on Bitcoin, which will make it even less viable as a daily driving currency, which means that people are probably going to sit on it for longer. All of that is going to be going on while the market is reaching towards all-time high, and so those factors are going to lead to a lockup of the supply. The demand is going up as a result of the ETF and the excitement in the media, and the supply has been shocked by the halving. And so what ends up occurring is you see a supply and a demand side shock at the same time. The new inflow of supply is cut in half by the halving event and then is dropped even lower because the fees have to go up to compensate the miners to be able to still be profitable. Remember, the miners make money from the fees and from the block reward. If the block reward gets cut in half, they have to make more fees to still be profitable. So the fees are going to go up, making Bitcoin move around less frequently. So on the one hand, you see the supply shock. On the other hand, you're seeing the demand shock. The ETFs that Bitcoin had approved earlier on this year are the single most successful ETF launches in the history of the entire securities market. Seriously. By a long shot. And so when you have the supply side shock on Bitcoin and the demand side shock on Bitcoin at the same time, that leaves the price parabolic. Which is why, if we are to have this corrective movement around the time of the halving, either a little bit before the halving because we break bearish out of the symmetrical triangle pattern, or a little bit after the halving because we have a lot of volatility in thin order books and we see a drop, if we see this corrective movement at all, I would highly encourage you to consider, and please make your own decisions. I'm not a financial advisor. I want you to think for yourself. But please heavily consider loading up some more bags on Bitcoin if you are trying to increase your Bitcoin position. Because my belief is that by at the latest, October 1st, and by the earliest, July 31st, which is somewhere over in this area right here, this area. Somewhere in here, Bitcoin will be hitting $100,000, which means if that occurs, a purchase of Bitcoin at 55K will be nearly a double in the span of less than 6 months. That is a great return with relatively low risk because Bitcoin is a market that is here to stay. And that's the final thing I want to mention right now, is that Bitcoin is not going to disappear. It will not go into the night. It will not vanish without a fight. It will be here for the long run, and there is no way that we can stop that. The SEC can't stop that. The CFTC can't stop that. The President of the United States cannot stop that. The people of Earth, not just of the United States, the people of the human race have decided that Bitcoin is going to be a part of our future financial system because people on this planet are tired of making bankers rich while they are staying broke because they've got mortgage payments and because they're spending all of their money in international transfer transaction fees and they are having their money inflated away. People are tired of the traditional system and how it makes the people that run the system richer, and the people that are using the system are the ones that are being oppressed, the ones that are being held down by the credit card companies and by the people that broker debt and by the people that have crazy high transaction fees and by the central banks that are inflating away the currency much faster than it needs to be inflated. They're tired of it. And so they're building a new system, and it's built on blockchain. Because there's two ways to build a system. With a trust-based system, where the people that own the trust are the ones that are actually succeeding, and maybe, hopefully, they end up sharing some of the wealth. A lot of times they don't. Or you build it on a trustless system. And the only way to do that is with blockchain. It is here to stay. Don't let the naysayers tell you that it's going to disappear. It won't. Bitcoin is going to be here for a very long time. Everybody can hashtag pray for Dave in chat because even he thinks that Bitcoin's a scam. It's going to be here. And if you do see a corrective movement, buy some because at post-halving, Bitcoin is going to go absolutely crazy. It may take a few months for the market to settle out, but after the halving event in the back half of 2024, it's going to get interesting. Please remember to check out our sponsor for today's episode of Climate of Crypto, NordVPN. Go to nordvpn.com/Jev and protect yourself while you browse online here in the cryptocurrency space and in every space so that you can stay safe. I don't want you to go make a bunch of wealth just for it to get stolen and then we just made a hacker wealthy. I want them to go broke. They deserve it. Like they need their punishment. Don't make them any more money by leaving yourself vulnerable. Say, screw you, hacker. I'm not making you money by staying vulnerable. I'm going to get NordVPN. I'm going to protect myself, and I'm going to be really good with my passwords because we can't just rely only on NordVPN. It helps, but we still need to be good with our passwords and with our private keys and all that. We're going to lock down the security and be the ones in control of our finances, and we are going to grow our finances for the kingdom of God. We're going to be generous with it. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to reinvest it, and we're going to be very, very well off because we were wise with our money. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And remember, all success in life begins with a personal and daily walk with the Lord Jesus Christ. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.